A lecturer from Oxfordshire whose son took his own life while studying is backing calls for universities to do more to protect students from harm. Dr. Mark Shanahan says universities should be obliged to have a legal duty of care towards their students. A petition to the government started by bereaved parents has now been signed by more than 100,000 people. A warning: this report from Claire Starr contains references to suicide.
I try not to think of who he'd be now, but I really liked the 22-year-old Rory that he was when he left us.
Dr. Mark Shanahan has worked at universities for 12 years across the South, but he knows all too well what can happen when students struggle during their studies. His son Rory took his own life while at university in 2018.
I see the gaps. And I see the gaps where things go wrong. I've seen it from my own bitter personal experience and the huge Rory-shaped hole that exists in our lives now.
Both Mark and his wife Jackie have joined a campaign for universities to have a legal duty of care towards their students. It's something the government would need to introduce.
The campaign is calling for the same duty of care that employers owe to their employees. And it seems very odd that employers should owe a duty to provide a safe workplace for their employees, while a university is not under a similar duty to provide a safe educational space for their students.
And I can't do anything about my son now, but I can for his friends, for our relatives, others who may be going to university.
Universities UK, which represents 140 institutions, says universities prioritise the mental health of students and staff, providing support for those experiencing difficulties and working closely with NHS services. The government says it expects all universities to take active steps to prevent suicides and to meet their legal duties in respect of the safety and welfare of their students. But parents don't think those current legal duties are enough. The petition has now reached 100,000 signatures and will be considered for a debate in Parliament.
As a professional working within higher education, it frustrates me hugely that we're unable to help students more sometimes just for the fact that people don't necessarily know how. I really hope that this leads to legislation that creates more certainty right across the sector.
That was Dr. Mark Shanahan ending Claire Starr's report. And if you need advice, information or support on the subject being discussed tonight, you can get more from the BBC's Action Line. The details, there you go, on your screen now.